Have you had like a dark, sort of deep, sad sort of feeling ever kind of like blow over you or kind of like feel part of you and you're just not feeling good about life and just seeing things in the negatives? Well, I want to share my story on this and some of the challenges and emotions I've had and how I've moved through it. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point for you then as well. Now, linked to this topic today, a lot of the times our bodies can store up emotions, and when we don't release them or don't feel them, and we're just living in the mind, then we can get a lack of clarity. Stress can really build up in the body, leading to certain illnesses and impact our relationships with others as well, and impact our business and careers. And it can be quite devastating sometimes, I've personally found. So that's why I'm a certified breathwork practitioner. And if you want to find out more about this work and how it might benefit you in those areas, then all you got to do is book in a call, and the link is in the show notes below. So this dark, doomy sort of feeling. So I've been writing my latest book, and it's a mental health fiction, and it features quite a lot of my life because I've had up and down challenges in my life, and it was from an early age where I had a lot of loss in my life. Lost my brother, lost my granddad, lost my grandma. I had a car crash, had some panic attacks in school, all sorts of things. And we all have different stories, but it created this quite like dark feeling, and I'd run away from it. And I had various things I do over the years, like kind of daydreaming, playing the PlayStation, video games, and then going out and partying, like in my late teens to through my 20s. And then I realized in the last few years more about this dark feeling, and it was quite a lot of like loss, a lot of sadness that I'd been suppressing and repressing. Now, what's the difference between suppressing and repressing? Repressing's when you push through like emotions or memories get pushed away unconsciously. They're so painful that you don't even consciously think about it, and they just get pushed away. And suppression is when you're just trying to avoid them and they just get pushed away, and they can build up over time. And that's again why I find breathwork so powerful, because it actually allows you to get to them, to release them or feel into them a little bit more rather than them build up. And what I realized though from these feelings is when I've changed the meaning and I started to look at these dark feelings in a different light, it's changed how I felt. Now I'm going to give you some points in a minute. Maybe you're struggling with something difficult though, and it's not feeling good, right? I've certainly been there. Well, if you're like me, you don't want to feel that more often than not, do you? You want to feel good. You want to feel excited for life. So let's talk about what you can do with this. The first thing is sit with it. Sit with the emotion. Not all day, every day, because you've got things to do and you don't want to get too down that rabbit hole. What I do though is I do some breath work in the morning, and then I will do a bit of meditation. Now, my meditation, I approach it with observing me being the space and just being like everything being like energy. And then when an emotion comes along, I will just observe it. I won't judge it. I would just be like, it's not me, but I'm judging. I'm looking at it, right? Not judging it. And I would just look at it like as passing by like traffic, right? And what that does is it allows me to unidentify from such dark emotions by just doing that automatically through the day when I'm taking this proactive approach in the morning. Now, I've also got my bonus points going to add something what you can do during the day if like it gets a little bit too overwhelming. I'd say when you're sitting with it, if you need longer, I do like 10 minutes breath work and then 20 minutes just meditation. If you need longer to sit with it, then do that as well. The second thing is what I've been touching on just a moment ago, was like look at the meaning you're giving it. So if you're seeing this darkness, you're looking at things, just get curious, be like, it's going to take practice, but looking at things and being like, I'm seeing that situation as dark, as sad. What could I see the joy in here? What opportunities can I see? So it does take a lot of questioning and then rewiring the kind of thoughts. But if you keep asking yourself that, it will transform into feeling better about things over time. But just unconsciously we give things a negative meaning sometimes. So being conscious to that and choosing a different meaning can really help. And then the third thing I'm going to share is a quote by Jim Rohn: be the guard to the door of your mind. If you are, a lot of the time, things are unconsciously coming into our mind and we're not even aware of it. Now, you can't block out 100% negative things in your life. If you wanted to do that, you might want to live in a cave and be away from everything, right? But that wouldn't be any kind of life, right? You're going to go through the day, you're going to hear people say negative things, you're going to hear negative things on the radio or the TV. Although I try and stay away from TV as much as possible unless I'm watching like football or something. Be the guard to the door of your mind. If you're taking in more negative things, it's going to hurt you. I know for me, when I used to drink heavily and party, like that darkness, that sad emotion, the first two things I said would not have as much impact on if I'd like heavily drunk. So I wasn't protecting my mind from the negative impacts from alcohol. Or when I'm like listening to sad songs, even music can make an impact. Or just watching something like a horror film. I actually quite do enjoy horror, so I've got to be careful sometimes, right? Yeah, I'm strange, I know. Anyway, but if I'm like watching something like too negative, it doesn't even have to be horror. It could be like something like a reality TV show or one of those kind of bits of rubbish where they're just gossiping, they're all, sometimes negative, all that kind of thing. Or just too much drama, like negative drama. I'm not saying ban these things completely if you enjoy them, by the way, those shows, but I'm just saying be very cautious about the information you take in. Like, or you could listen to like a beautiful relaxing music on YouTube. That's a good alternative. So just being aware of the information taking constantly. Like, I will go nowhere near the news. In fact, even when my family put it on, I will usually leave the room if it's on there, because I know that information's going into my head, right? So just being very cautious about the information that's going into your head as well, because again, that can really feed the negative emotions. So listen to this podcast, for example, or other podcasts that I've left you, or good YouTube videos, or even a program or course that maybe you want to invest in, or maybe you've got already that you want to listen to, or read some good books, right? So I've got a final point I wanted to add that I think is going to be really beneficial for you, that's really helped me. Just to mention again though, one really beneficial thing you can do to release these negative things is breath work. It can release things like stress. It can help you with gaining clarity and build your relationships with people. I've worked with many people and it's helped their relationships as well. And it can benefit you in your health mentally and physically, and also your career or business as well, when you really release things and connect with yourself deeper. So if you're interested in breath work, you can book a call with me in the show notes below. My final point for you today is this: have a response plan. Okay. And what do I mean by this, by like having a response plan? I mean, in the moment, sometimes things build up and sometimes negative feelings can come out of nowhere. And it's usually from like unconsciously a thought that's been triggered. So what I do is I have this 3-step process in place when I feel negative. And the first part is I will observe. Now, again, time permitting where you are, it's dependent on all these things, but as you can do this process in a minute or you can take longer, right? Depending what your situation is. As much as you can check in with your emotions, the better, of course. But like if you just come out of a meeting, for example, in a workplace, and then you've got like 10 minutes to your next meeting, maybe you only got a minute to do this, right? So the first thing is observing and just identifying from it. So you're feeling really sad suddenly. I'm feeling the feeling of sadness. I am not sadness. I am feeling the feeling of sadness. Because when you start identifying with something, when you say you are the thing, that makes you more prone to living it and acting out of it more often. But just saying it's a temporary emotion and you're experiencing it is great because you're observing it. And also saying you're doing that and then saying, just identifying for it and then observing it. The second step is to feel it, right? That sounds a bit like, well, I don't want to feel sad. Well, if you resist it, it persists, as I say. Ever heard the saying, what you resist persists? I find that very, very true in most cases, certainly in this case. So when you feel it, like if you truly allow yourself to go in the body, not into the mind, but into the body, and feel the part of the body that's feeling this thing, then it allows it to process it out if you don't resist it. All right, just try it. And then the third thing is ask myself, what do I want and what am I going to do? So asking yourself, I don't want to be sad is not what you want. That's what you don't want. Say, I want to feel more relaxed. I want to feel relaxed. I want to feel calm. Right? That's great. That's what you want. And it's like, what am I going to do? I'm going to go and just do some breath work. I'm going to go for a walk. Great. Maybe you don't feel absolute joy and bliss straight away, but it's certainly going to help you move towards where you want to go. Right? But constantly ask yourself, what do you want after you do those first two steps, and what you're going to do about it is a really great way to move forward. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.